Today's video, guys, is brought to you by Opera GX, the first browser made specifically for gamers, tailored to your needs to provide you a bunch of awesome resources, guys, starting with my favorite, Opera GX. That's right, guys. Opera GX Control gives you the ability to reduce the lag that your browser is providing you. I know you guys have had a bunch of tabs opened up out there. You wanted to have your Twitter open, your Twitch open, everything going at the same time, and you realize that all of your RAM is being sucked up by these tabs. Well, luckily, you can limit the amount of CPU, RAM usage, network, anything that you want to with a built-in browser feature, guys, so you never lag in your games again. I also love all of Opera's easy to access built-in integration, guys. I've got my Twitch built in here so I can see all of my favorite streamers that are currently streaming and what they're doing. I can see all of my own Twitch features. I can get direct access to Twitter, Discord, all without having to open up a million tabs and be lagging out my computer, interrupting my gaming. Not only that, guys, also with GX Corner right up here in the corner, you've got access to free games, folks. That's right, free games, Rage 2, Star Citizen Weekend, Stalker, all of this stuff. They swap in and out new games all the time, so you can get access to free video games just by using a free web browser that's already better than everything else. So if you're not on the Opera GX hype train yet, you should be, guys. We've got a link down in the description below where you can download this for free and upgrade your web browsing. Make it as customizable as you want. That's right, super easy to change the UI, make it easier on your eyes, or make it cool to look at, guys. So check it out down in the description below. Thank you to Opera GX for sponsoring this video, and enjoy. Hello everybody, we are here with your Discordia middle guide. Discordia actually quite good right now, probably better than she's been in a while. So we're going to be starting off with the standard mage middle build, which is going to be our conduit gem, 2 healing potions and a mana potion, and of course grabbing our beads. We're going to be leveling up our 1 first on Discordia. This is our main wave clear ability. And also going to be the ability that we level up to max first. So Sands of Time may potentially be a viable starter for mages pretty soon here. Unfortunately, the Pendulum of Ages is bugged, and while it says 20% cooldown, it's only actually giving a 10% cooldown. So there's no reason to actually buy that right now. So you got to be careful with that one. So we're still getting Conduit Gem, even though the Conduit Gem has been nerfed from 30 magical power to 25 magical power. And that it has some MP5 reduction on it as well compared to usual. So for our standard ability combo here on Discordia, it's going to be a nice 2 into a 1. So your 2 is going to go ahead and root the target, and then you're going to be able to follow up right with your 1 on top of them to get the damage off.
This gadget will buzz when the baddies are nearby.
If you have your ulti up after that, you're going to be able to slam down an ulti after it if you need to. Your ultimate is also extremely long range right now. So Thor is hammered, so I'm gonna try to hit him with the 2. Not quite gonna be able to reach him with it. And if you use the bounces properly on Discordia, you can also hit people around walls and stuff, which is pretty nice. One of the reasons why Discordia is so strong right now is she actually really likes this kind of high cooldown build that you kind of get just on accident on mages, and she really likes Spear of Desolation. So Spear of Desolation is the best mage item in the game, not even close. And Spear of Desolation gives you that -2 seconds on your cooldowns when you use it, right? So when you get that proc on your Spear of Desolation, you're gonna get those -2 seconds. Well, Discordia already wants to have a good bit of CDR, so we're going to have cooldown boots with our Spear of Desolation, so we're going to get 20% CDR right off the bat. But then you get Discordia's 3. Now, a lot of people know Discordia's 3 just as a getaway skill, right? It's a little tiny leap that throws you into stealth, but a lot of people do not use this ability as the aggressive potential that it can have. It is probably the best aggressive dash in the entire game of Smite right now. And that is because when you sit in your 3, it is going to reduce the cooldowns of your 1 and your 2. So as you rank this up, it'll level it up more per tick, but literally just sitting inside of your little 3 circle is going to reduce the cooldowns of your 1 and 2 really, really fast. And so when you start building cooldown on her and you get these cooldowns lower, and then you have flat cooldown of 2 seconds on your Spear of Desolation procs, and then you have flat cooldown of potentially 1.5 seconds at endgame on your 3 procs, you basically have no cooldowns on your 1 and your 2. So you're just gonna be spamming these abilities late game and hitting people really, really hard with them. So we're gonna grab a couple of wards on our back, and of course we're gonna get our ultimate at level 5. Our level order on Discordia is going to be 4, 1, 2, 3. So we're gonna level up our ultimate whatever we can because it really does hit hard. Then we're gonna get our 1 because it is our main form of clear. Finally, we will get ourselves our 2 and our 3. Our 2 we rank up because it does more damage. For both the initial hit and the madness hit. The madness hit is what happens when you hit more than one target with Discordia 2. And then we will get our 3 ranked up for the reduction of our cooldowns, as well as a small increase to the movement speed buff that we get while we're inside our little 3. So this is the little circle that I'm talking about. As long as you were inside of that, you get that bonus movement speed from Discordia, and you also get those cooldown reductions as long as you sit inside of it for as long as the ability lasts. One more thing I should mention about Discordia's 2. Discordia's 2 is normally a root. So it is a root if you hit it on one target. But if you hit it on more than one target, they're actually gonna be taunted towards each other. Think about Circuit 2, how if you hit a Circuit 2, the target kind of run towards you, but if you hit 2 different people with it, they kind of like get angry, you know? If you get somebody too close to each other, they start to beat on each other. It's the same concept as that with Discordia, where if you hit one person, it's just gonna root them in place. But if you hit more than one person, they're gonna run at each other because they're actually trying to attack each other, and they will do a little bit of damage to each other with that madness that they have on them. That does mean, though, that you need to be careful when you're following up with your 1 damage. It can be pretty common to miss your Discordia 1 off of your 2 when you accidentally hit more than one target. So if I try to root like these archers, right, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna hit him, and I'm already following up with my 1 before it even hits, that's cool. But if I accidentally hit another person with it, like off to the side, then they're gonna run and meet each other in the middle. And so you just need to be careful to make sure that if you are gonna hit more than one target, that you kind of predict where they're gonna meet each other so you can throw out your 1. So right there, I just hit the Hera, so I can throw down my 1 right on top of her and get a lot of damage. I'm gonna use my 3 right now aggressively just to start building back up my abilities so I can run over to this fight. I'm gonna look for this Ymir. He uses his ultimate. I'm gonna hit him with the root combo, and he is gonna go down. I've still got my ultimate up right now. I wanna save it for this Hera around the corner, so I'm gonna launch that right on him. He's gonna try to pop his 1 to live, and I should be able to finish off Hera with my 1 around the corner. Now there is a Apollo right here, so I'm gonna use my root to kind of keep him away from me and get some distance between us. For Discordia's abilities, almost all of them go through walls. So your 1 will go over walls, your 2 will go over walls. You can actually 3 over very small walls. It is a leap, not a dash. But your ultimate will not go through walls. Your ultimate works just like a Hui Ricochet. But that does mean that you can kind of, you know, bend your bullet wanted style around the walls if you land the bounce properly, and it will go a long way. Discordia Apple has a thick travel duration and movement ability for it. So you can really try to launch it down and at people. So don't be afraid to try to go for kind of a cheeky play, especially in the jungle. Like if there's a team fight in the jungle, you can kind of just YOLO your ultimate because it'll just start bouncing around so much and it's basically guaranteed to hit somebody. Now, of course, the big thing with Discordia ult is not only does it hit once, it can hit twice onto the rest of the team. So you do want to kind of throw it right into the middle of a crowd. It's going to get that initial hit of damage, and then it starts to proc the second damage, kind of like how a Cupid Heart Bomb does the first bit and then the second bit. Same concept, except for if that second bit hits, then it's going to basically hit again on all the targets around them. It's going to hit them with the CC. It's going to make them spam I'm the greatest, which if you don't know, it's just a built-in mechanic for Discordia. It's kind of a little side thing. If you've ever wondered why your team all decided to spam I'm the greatest at the same time, it's because if you get hit by Discordia ult, it makes you spam I'm the greatest in chat. And so like if you hit an ulti on one person and then that ulti hits the rest of them, then you can literally like make their whole team spam I'm the greatest. Which is, you know, one, hilarious, but also two, can really clutter up people's comms, which is pretty flippin' funny. So right there, boom, we're gonna get a huge combo right there. You can actually see perfectly that Discordia ult second hit. So Ares pulls them right together. So I get the hit from my one, and I also get my ultimate hit at the same time on that second proc. So it does so much damage, basically that giant explosion plus the damage from my one. I need to be a little bit careful here. Ymir is liable to kill me. So I am going to chill out, save my beads and my dash just in case I need to get over that wall. So for Discordia in her matchups right now, she is actually, I would argue Discordia is probably the most underrated mid laner right now. It doesn't mean that she's the best mid laner. I just think she's the most underrated. She has better clear than most people give her credit for. So she can actually contend with those high-end mages right now, like the Morrigans and Raijans and Raws and Janices of the world right now that are full clearing those waves super fast so they can go get more jungle farm. She can actually contend with those, particularly as you get into later stages of the game. She has a lot of burst damage that she can do single target and AoE, so she's got great team fights as well. And you can just see the general poke damage that you can provide on Discordia, which is very important right now to keep people low HP before the actual fights break out. So for me right now, Discordia, probably not a top 5 mid laner, but probably right around that area. Absolutely is viable for the highest levels of gameplay. Never really a bad pick. So what does Discordia kind of struggle against? One, Discordia's 3 is a leap, so you can be pulled out by a Wheelix, so just be careful. Most of Wheelixes tend to not pull that because it's kind of short in duration and kind of sneaky, but you can be yoinked right there. Discordia tends to do pretty well against characters like Ymir that make walls because she can leap right over them, and when she's sitting in that, she gets her cooldowns right back up. One thing you have to be careful about is consistent outputs of damage. So another thing you should know about Discordia's 3 is that it is an immunity frame. So while you are in the actual animation, you cannot be CC'd, take any damage or anything. So when I'm in this exact little leap, I cannot take damage while I'm getting to my new target location. So I can avoid a Ra ult like this. I can avoid a Scylla ult. But you do need to watch out for high amounts of CC. Cripples tend to do very well against Discordia, whether that's a Poseidon Whirlpool, or whether that is a Ares Chain. Cripples just tend to do very well because not only is Discordia's 3 her getaway ability, it's also a hugely important ability for her damage output, because she needs that to get her 1 and her 2 back up in order to provide a lot of damage to the team. So if you have a bunch of people stopping you from using your 3, that is where you're gonna have a harder time. So now that we've gotten these items online, I'm gonna go right into a soul gem. And I'm gonna get myself an Aegis. Soul Gem going to once again give me 10% more CDR. And Soul Gem is gonna proc very often on us. Because we get our abilities back up from the CDR on our 3, it means that we're going to be getting a lot of Soul Gem procs. So an item like Soul Gem works, we're going to be getting a lot of, Soul Gem procs because of the fact that we're going to be able to build up those 4 stacks over and over and over and over again because we get our 1 and our 2 and our 1 and our 2 and our 1 and our 2 and our 1 and our 2. Another thing that's nice about Discordia right now is her passive is actually just the most embracement of the snowball meta. Holy damage right there on Thor. So I'm gonna come back and talk about that in a second. But her passive is just exactly what you want in a snowball meta. So you can see there's a little picture of Osiris down here. The picture is not there because I think he's cute. The picture is there because he has our top damage right now. And because he has top damage, I'm actually giving him even more power. So he's going to have even more damage on top of the fact that he has top damage. So he's going to be snowballing in his lane even harder. You can see he's got a 2-level lead over there. So Discordia really helps whoever is bullying on your team just bully even harder, which is really good right now in this meta where characters are snowballing out of control so fast. I wanted to mention in that previous fight in the mid lane, what you saw right there was 2 things. 1, you saw the madness proc on my 2. Because I hit 2 different targets, they ran right at each other, so I made sure to follow up with my abilities right onto the spot where they were going to meet in the middle. Also, you saw on my ultimate, I ultied the Hera, right? Hera immediately died. So the explosion went off on my ultimate, just like how Cupid Heart Bomb works, which put the effect on the Thor. So then he had that secondary effect on him, which then exploded on him. So if you get ever confused about how Discordia ult, how's it going to work in this situation, it works exactly like Cupid Heart Bomb does. If you don't know how Cupid Heart Bomb does, I don't know. You should watch the Cupid guide where we talk about how the Heart Bomb works. Also, play more Cupid. He's fun. But seriously, play more Discordia. So at this point of the game now, we're getting close to doing the objective. So we're going to try to look for a little pick off here. I got to be a little careful. I use my 3 for the immunity on the Ymir freeze. Now I'm sitting in my 3 in order to get... I see that there is an Apollo coming towards me, so I'm going to go ahead and pop my beads. I'm going to sit right on the edge of this ability right here in order to get as much cooldown as I can before I run away. We're going to get a couple of pickoffs here. They use a lot of abilities on me. And so hopefully we can just take the win from this fight and get ourselves over towards this gold Fury. I'm going to counter ward this because I do want to move back up, but I'm hoping that they won't know where I am standing, which should let me move back in and grab a kill on this Thor using my 2 and my 1 through the wall. Now I'm going to stealth, and I'm going to stay in stealth right here so these minions don't actually see me. Oh my goodness, but my stealth unfortunately runs out and they come right back for your boy. Apollo ultimate is down. Bellona's not here. They've got a bunch of people needing to respawn. I'm going to put out a deep ward so we can see them coming. And then I'm going to use my abilities. Ooh, right here onto the Apollo. That's why we throw that ward over the wall so we can zone him out immediately. Now, Discordia is not one of the better objective securers in the game. It's probably one of her weaknesses compared to the other mages right now that are really in the meta. A lot of them are very good at securing the objectives. Ra, Poseidon, Scylla, heck, even Janus ult. All pretty good at securing the objective. Discordia, not so much. But what Discordia lacks for an objective secure, she does make up an objective burn. So when you're doing the objective on Discordia, you're going to want to throw down your 2 and your 1 for the damage, and then immediately use your 3 so you can start getting those cooldowns back up so you can use your 2 and your 1 again on the objective. So you're going to have a lot of consistent damage output. You just don't have the best secure in the world. For your secure, really all you can do is throw down your 2 and then your 1 immediately after and do your best to get those to hit at about the same time. Your 2 does have that small delay on it. So if you throw out your 2 and your 1 when you're right by it, you can see you can get them pretty close to hitting near the same time. You cannot combine them perfectly. If you could, she would be a lot better at securing the objective, but you can't. And that's why she's not one of the not one of the better objective securers in Smite right now. But as long as you understand that that's one of our weaknesses, then you can turn and fight around objectives instead of just going for the burst secure, right? That's just the general mage stat in general. If you have the better mage secure, then chances are you can just burn the fire giant even if they come in to contest it. As long as you trust your mage, then you continue to burn it because your mage is going to be able to secure, right? If you don't have the better secure, like this game right here, luckily they don't have that good of secure as well, but they do have a Thor ulti that can come in. They've got a Bellona ulti that can come in, Apollo ult, right? They've got a lot of people that can just dive down into a fight, so we should still be careful regardless. In that case, you're just kind of baiting out the objectives, waiting for the fight, and as soon as you see the enemy come in for the fight, you turn on them, go for the kills, and then do the objective when it's a little bit safer. So that is a team comp dependent thing. I'm gonna look for this Thor as he's running back into the mid lane. Hit him with a little wombo combo right here. He's gonna beads so he doesn't get pulled in. And my ultimate is not going to hit off of that, but that is okay. Ultimate's actually on a pretty low cooldown. So after my soul gem, I'm going into a Rada Tahuti. Rada Tahuti's still one of the best mage items in the game. It did get that small nerf of 20 magical power. But 20 magical power did not make this item less enticing. The only thing it really did is it made it slightly less enticing as a first item, which is why you see every mid laner in the game right now going directly into that Spear of Desolation. The convenient thing, though, about going into Spear of Desolation as your very first item is that if they are rocking healers, you get to just take yourself right into a Divine Ruin as a first item, and then you can get the Spear of Desolation as your second item.
Wow, this is
If you try to go into a different item first, then you don't have the ability to quickly shift that around dependent on their team comp. And you should be building anti-heal right now. I'm gonna hit you with a stat just to, you know, instill the fear of healers in your heart. The top 3 win rates in the game right now are Aphrodite, Chang'e, and Guan Yu. So healers are still good. So make sure you're buying anti-healing, okay? Healing is still good. No matter how much you don't want to buy it, I promise you're gonna regret it if you don't buy it. So right there, I slammed the Discordia with my ultimate. She uses Aegis, but there's the initial damage effect and that secondary damage effect. So while she immuned the first bit of damage, she couldn't immune the second bit. I'm gonna dash over into the jungle to start getting my cooldowns back up as I walk towards Bellona. I do see that there's an Apollo in the air, so I'm trying to be a little bit careful sticking near my team. I've got my finger on my Aegis just in case I need it, but we should be able to basically just go shove up middle lane. I can root this Ymir right here, so he doesn't have any help. Apollo has landed back in the jungle. He doesn't really have a choice but to try to dash away from us. I'm gonna sit right here in my stealth and be able to put him down. Ymir over this wall. I'm gonna hit him with the root, hit him with the one follow-up combo, and now we should actually go directly to the fire giant. We've got 5 people dead on their team. We've got 5 people alive. We've got good vision that we can put out, so we should go directly for this fire giant.
Destroyed a middle enemy tower.
One thing that you should know about Discordia as well right now is that Discordia does have a bug. I'm not 100% sure why it happens, but Discordia's one sometimes will simply not go through a wall. So you should know that the ability does go through walls. It does do damage through walls, but sometimes you'll be trying to throw out Discordia 1 through a wall and it'll like reset and go back to here. I think it's a part of her mechanic where she's not supposed to be able to fire directly into a wall, but sometimes it's bugging out on this new map. Kind of like how if you see Janus portals on this map that aren't touching a wall at all, I think the bug is related to the fact that there's walls in places where there isn't actually anything, and that the walls and the programming are just slightly off on each other. So sometimes you'll try to throw a 1 through a wall that you definitely know you can throw it through because you've done it before, and it'll freak out and it'll just put it right on top of your character. So just be aware that that can happen right now, and I do think that it is partially because of the new map in the new walls and just not being exactly right on their programming on where they are. So just be aware. Sometimes you'll be like looking to go through a wall like this. You see how it goes through, but then all of a sudden sometimes you'll like go to throw it and it's like bloop, and you're like, oh, I guess I didn't want to shoot through that wall anyway. So just keep that in mind. Now we are level 20, so we can go ahead and back it up. We're still getting Archmage's Gem. Archmage's Gem is still one of the best end game starters around. That 40% bonus magical power scaling that you get is just so good. And I mean, if you think about it in terms of our ultimate, you're going to get the initial damage bonus, right, from this scaling, and then you're going to get the detonate damage bonus on that scaling. So if you can manage to use it on your ulti, you're going to get that 40% bonus scaling on both of those effects. It's just so good on Discordia. Even once the Sands of Time gets upgraded and fixed, it's still going to be really hard to argue for anything outside of the Archmages. So right now here at the end of the game, I'm looking to use my 2 and my 1 mostly over walls when I can. I want to try to stick away from the enemy and be as far back away from the team fight as possible while still being able to hit my abilities. So I'm going to kind of stay right here by this wall looking for the Hera, Apollo, whoever as they move up. And then I'm going to use my dash, go right back here. I'm going to immediately get all of my cooldowns back up so I can just walk right back in and start throwing down my abilities once again. Ymir tries to blink freeze me, but I have my ultimate going, which gives me that CC immediately. I've gotten the Spear of Desolation proc, so I can use my 1 and my 2 back on Ymir, which is going to give me another Spear of Desolation proc, which means I can use my 1 and my 2 yet again. And that is why we love the Spear of Desolation. That's why Discordia is loving this meta so much right now, because when we get kills, we get reduced cooldown. When we get reduced cooldown, we get reduced cooldown on top of our reduced cooldown with our reduced cooldown. And that's why she can spam so many abilities and get so much damage off in our team fights. For the last item there, would have been very standard, just would have been our Obsidian Shard to make sure that we had enough penetration moving into the late stages of the game. And that as the characters got tankier on the enemy team, we'd be able to continue to burst through them, guys. So on your Discordia, make sure you get the CDR. Make sure you get CDR early. Make sure you're using that 2-1 combo, and most importantly, make sure you're using your 3 aggressively. It shouldn't just be a getaway ability. It should be a very aggressive ability in order to get your cooldowns quickly back online so you can spam your 1 and your 2 again, because that's where a lot of your damage is going to come from being able to spam them on top of each other, on top of each other, on top of each other, guys. And that is our Discordia guide.